Husband cheated, so I made millions. Alright Reddit, buckle up. I'm about to tell you how my cheating husband accidentally made me a millionaire. This story starts like a lot of others. Young couple, married for a few years, everything seemed fine on the surface. I'm 23, and I thought I was living the dream. Boy, was I wrong. Let's call my husband Derek, because I refused to give him any real airtime. Derek and I had been together since we were 19. I loved him. I trusted him. And I thought we were on the same page about life. Turns out, I was the only one reading that book. I started noticing something was off a few months ago. He became distant. His phone was suddenly always on silent, and he spent more time at work. Classic red flags, right? I brushed it off at first. Didn't want to be the paranoid wife. But one night, he fell asleep on the couch, and his phone lit up with a message. I didn't mean to snoop, but I saw her name. Amanda. My stomach dropped. I opened his phone. He was too dumb to change his password. And there it was. A full-blown affair. Messages, photos, everything. My heart shattered, but before I confronted him, I had an idea. A profitable idea. See, Derek works in tech. Boring software stuff, but he made decent money. More importantly, he worked for a company that handled sensitive data. Now, don't get me wrong. I had zero interest in blackmailing or doing anything illegal. But what I found on his phone, oh, it gave me leverage. Big time leverage. Derek had been using his work resources to help Amanda start her own online business. Not only was he cheating, but he was mixing personal with professional. And guess what? His company has some strict policies about that kind of thing. I knew I could get him fired if I played my cards right. But instead of going nuclear right away, I decided to flip the script. I started collecting evidence. Screenshots, texts, emails, everything. I didn't confront him immediately. Instead, I planned. I knew if I played this right, I could walk away with a lot more than just revenge. That's when I contacted a lawyer. We set everything in motion quietly. I didn't want alimony or a nasty divorce battle. What I wanted was something bigger. The lawyer helped me come up with a strategy that would turn this whole betrayal into my financial win. And trust me, I was about to play the long game. Update. Alright, Reddit. Let's dive into the next chapter. So, I've got all the dirt on Derek. Proof of his affair. And more importantly, proof that he's been using his company's resources to help his side chick Amanda build her business. It was only a matter of time before this blew up in his face, but I wasn't about to rush things. Why? Because my lawyer and I had a plan. The first thing I did was prepare to lock down my financial future. Derek and I had a joint bank account, but we kept our savings separate. While I had my own stash, Derek's tech job paid significantly more, and he had some nice assets. The key though was Derek's stock options with his company. His shares were worth a pretty penny, but they hadn't fully vested yet. So, I waited. I didn't confront him. I didn't blow up his spot, or let on that I knew. I played the dutiful wife, even as I felt my heart breaking every day. I kept building my case quietly, and spent the next few months keeping things civil. I let Derek think he was getting away with everything while he kept digging himself into a deeper hole. All the while, I knew exactly when those stock options would vest. 5 months from when I found out about the affair. But here's where the plan came together. His company had a strict morality clause. If Derek were caught violating it by, say, using company resources to benefit a personal relationship, he could be terminated immediately. No severance. No stock. Nothing. But if we filed for divorce after his stock options vested, I'd be entitled to half of them. So I kept tabs on everything, waiting for the perfect moment. I also started building a legal case for the divorce that would give me the upper hand. I didn't just want to walk away from this marriage. I wanted to walk away rich. I figured, if Derek was going to break my heart, he might as well pay for it. Literally. When the stock finally vested, I knew it was time to act. I could finally cash in. I called my lawyer, and we filed for divorce the next day, citing adultery and financial misconduct. And that's when things got wild. Derek didn't see it coming. He thought I was oblivious, and when the divorce papers were served, his face was priceless. But it gets better. I didn't just serve him with divorce papers. I also sent an anonymous tip to his company about his little side gig with Amanda. Within days they launched an internal investigation, and it didn't take long for them to uncover the misuse of company resources. He was fired. But here's the kicker. Because we filed for divorce before his termination, and the stock options had vested, I was entitled to half of them. Even with his sudden loss of income, the payout from those shares was more than enough to set me up for life. In the end, Derek was left jobless. Amanda ditched him when she realized he was no longer the golden ticket, and I walked away with millions. The stocks, our assets, the house. Everything was mine. And honestly, it was worth every second of waiting. Right on, Milty. The best revenge isn't just moving on. It's moving on rich. Final update. Hey Reddit. It's time for the final update. If you've been following my story, you know how I discovered Derek's affair, collected the evidence, waited for his stock options to vest, and played the long game to secure a major financial win. Well, here's how it all wrapped up. After Derek was fired, his life unraveled faster than I expected. Losing his job hit him hard, and Amanda, predictably, jumped ship when the money dried up. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a little satisfaction watching him struggle, especially after what he put me through. But here's the thing. Despite all the chaos, I didn't want to stay stuck in the past. Sure, I had the money, the house, and my revenge. But the real win was taking control of my life again. So I decided to use the settlement to not only secure my future, but to invest in myself. With the payout from the divorce and the stock options, I walked away with just over $4 million. I took part of that money and invested in some real estate, rented out a few properties that now generate passive income. I also went back to school, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the time or resources for. I'm now studying business and entrepreneurship, something that excites me more than I ever thought it would. But here's the twist. I didn't stop there. Remember Amanda, the woman Derek cheated on me with? Well, after she and Derek split, her little online business collapsed. She wasn't great at managing it on her own, and it turns out she was in way over her head. One day, out of sheer curiosity, I checked in on her website, only to see that it was for sale. The ultimate power move? I bought it. It wasn't about revenge at that point. It was about opportunity. The business had some potential, and I had the resources to make it work. I hired a team, rebranded it, and turned it into a profitable online store. Within 6 months, it was generating 6 figures. So here I am now, sitting in my newly purchased home with multiple income streams and a future that I built myself. Derek? Last I heard, he's couch surfing with friends trying to find work, and has pretty much burned every bridge he had. If there's one thing I've learned from this whole ordeal, it's that you can turn the worst moments in your life into fuel for something better. I could have stayed angry and bitter, but instead, I focused on what I could build, and it turns out, I built an empire. Thanks for following along, Reddit. It's been a wild ride, but I came out on top in more ways than one. Here's to a future where I'm the only one writing the script. Stay strong, and never underestimate what you're capable of. Signing off, the millionaire ex-wife.